Hello there. Welcome to the January and February collection update for Texan Collection Odyssey. I got a few Blu-rays and records to look at, and a few other special things to talk about. But let's start with some Blu-rays. First is Pulp Fiction. Quentin Tarantino movie, kind of the quintessential Quentin, if you will. Yeah, got this at a garage sale. There's a ton of cool special features on here. Kind of a must to have on Blu-ray, really. It's kind of one of those movies to where it's kind of on those greatest of all time lists, even if I personally think, it's okay. It's not my favorite movie by any means, but it's kind of like I would be amiss if I didn't have it in the collection, So glad to get this, and I got it for $1 or something like that. Next is some stuff I got during the Target sale. So Target had a sale this past month. I think it was just a percentage offer. No, it was a buy two, get one free on media, basically. So I picked up 3 Blu-rays. The first one is Ready or Not. This is the horror movie, A Killer Game of Hide and Seek. She basically, this girl marries into this game board empire family, and they have to play a game of hide and seek to stay alive, essentially, and she has to try and live through the night. And it was really good, actually. Typically, I'm not into horror, but this kind of had a dark comedy element and sort of a very interesting visual style, and so that kind of made the other stuff more palatable. Okay, there I also got the Peanut Butter Falcon on Blu-ray. This is a movie I heard about, but I didn't get to go see in theaters. But the description is, a young man with Down syndrome who runs away from a residential nursing home to fulfill his dream of attending the pro wrestling school of his idol. On the road, he meets Tyler, who is Shia LaBeouf, kind of a wandering drifter, and Eleanor, who is, I think, one of his nurses, who is played by Dakota Johnson. And supposedly, it's a really good movie. I have not watched it yet, but I'm really excited to. This just has a really interesting premise, and the style, it seems kind of Mark Twain, Huck Finn-ish, which is always appealing to me. So, be happy when I get to watch that. Something I have seen, though, and proud I got to see at the theater, because it only came out 2 days, was Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. So this is the newest installment of kind of the View Askew universe. And it was an okay movie, It definitely wasn't on par with Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back or some of his earlier stuff, but it's just kind of like the Adam Sandler movies, like Grown Ups, that he's making now, to where the movies themselves, are they really that good? No. But you can see how much fun everyone had on set. That really does come through. And so even if it's just a movie that they made to kind of reconnect with their buddies, I mean, that makes it worth it. And there's also a very interesting interview of him with Ben Affleck, who is in the movie, who is in Chasing Amy. And he comes back to this movie, and it was kind of a bridge between them. They haven't spoken in several years, but it was kind of a cool moment. And Ben said he was excited to do it because he hasn't had that much dialogue in the past 10 years in his movies. So the guy who got the chance to play Batman and all that stuff, this one cameo of doing a monologue in this movie may have meant more to him than the past 10 blockbusters he's been in. So I think that's kind of a cool view to their journey over time as people and friends. Now, during a sale at Entertain Mart, I picked these 3 up. The first was a new 4K, which is always exciting. It is Mad Max Fury Road. Now, I had a friend show this to me. He was like, his premise was, all right, I know you like movies, and I love them too, but this movie is like something else. Like, this is something to be seen. You must see this. So we sat down and watched it, and it was really good. I'd never seen the other Mad Maxes before, and I still haven't, actually. But just the visuals of this movie and the style behind it is worth a lot, And I know this movie kind of gets a lot of hype, and I was kind of one of those people to where I was like, it's probably not that good. And, things like this never live up to the hype, because they're so pushed. But it really is good, and it's really worth seeing and giving a chance. If you like post-apocalyptic movies, if you like, car movies, obviously, because that's kind of the premise behind this. a 30-minute car chase, basically. But it makes that 30-minute car chase look just really, really good. Also got this, Booksmart. I heard a lot of good things about this movie. Basically, that it was the new Superbad, being that it was a high school teen comedy, but it had a lot of heart and deep kind of humanizing stuff behind it, right? And it's very similar to Superbad in a lot of good ways. There's a lot of good funny moments. But the premise behind the movie is, these two girls who studied all, their high school career, didn't party, didn't do anything typically fun, but they found out everybody else in their school who they thought goofed off and didn't really do anything with their lives also get into good school. So they're like, well, we wasted our time. We might as well go out and have some fun. So it's kind of got that. That's the premise of the movie. But what's really the theme of the movie is that, it starts off with a lot of stereotypical characters, including the main characters, but it slowly kind of breaks those stereotypes and shows you that behind every one of those, there's a real person. And for that, it was a really good movie. I enjoyed it. And finally, from Entertainment, I got Die Hard. So this is the 25th anniversary collection. It has Die Hard, Die Hard 2, Die Hard with a Vengeance, which is my personal favorite, and Live Free or Die Hard. I specifically wanted to get this set because it didn't include the fifth one, which sucks, frankly. But I really like Die Hard with a Vengeance. There's something about him and Samuel L. Jackson and the setting of being in New York and kind of the twist that happens in the movie, if you've seen it before, that makes me really enjoy it. The only thing that sucks is it kind of comes in the same case as like Jurassic Park did, where it's like slide in and slide out, which can kind of damage the Blu-rays maybe, but still a cool find and glad to get it, discounted basically because of where I got it. All right, now on to some music. First, I have this record, Willie and Leon, One for the Road. So this is Willie Nelson and Leon Russell, both kind of very enigmatic singer-songwriters, and there's some cool selections on here with a really well-made album basically. Their version of Heartbreak Hotel is probably their most famous off of this. My dad actually got me this just kind of out of the blue because he knew that I would probably enjoy it. He knows I like both of those artists. And just a cool album to add to the collection. All right, and two that I got at Half Price Books were Chris Christopherson, The Silver-Tongued Devil and I. This was one of the albums I had to go out and get after seeing Ken Burns' country music documentary. I love Chris Christopherson as an actor, and I loved his music, but I had never really owned an album of his or sat down and listened to a lot of his music at one time. But this is probably one of his most famous albums because it has Loving Her Was Easier Than Anything I'll Ever Do Again, The Taker, and The Pilgrim Chapter 33. And he's just an awesome, beautiful songwriter. And his style is just really, really cool. A classic for, the outlaw movement and also for songwriters in general. I said two, I was actually incorrect. This I actually got from Game Exchange, believe it or not. They are now buying and selling vinyl records, which is pretty cool. Because I went in there and some of their stuff is not overpriced, but it's priced correctly. But then some of their stuff is priced really well, whereas, at Half Price Books, this would maybe be $5. There, it's like $1 or $2. So I think I got this for like $1.50 or something. Charlie Daniels Band, Full Moon. I love the album art on this. They're kind of in the spooky swamp. The said swamp in question is Willie Swamp, which is the first song on here. It's a very cool Halloween ghost story type song, set in the Louisiana and the Delta South basically. But Charlie Daniels Band, their kind of brand of obviously fiddle heavy country music definitely appeals to me. And finally, I got this really cool poster here. Pulp Fiction, A Two-Fisted Mystery Marathon, Alamo Drafthouse. So, kind of as a treat to myself, I went with a friend to Alamo Drafthouse in Houston, and we saw 5 movies. What we saw were The Shadow, which was good, The Phantom, which was not good, Flash Gordon, which was glorious. A movie called Zone Troopers, which was these guys in the army in 1944 finding an alien. It was great. And last we saw the 4K restoration of The Mask of Zorro from the 90s. And it was an awesome experience. Ate a lot of good food, had a lot of good beer, and it was just an awesome time. And it was cool to be able to get the poster as well. You know, I love all that stuff I'm going to be able to hang on the wall at some point, hopefully. All right, and lastly, a CD. The Humble CD. This is Sunset Motel by Reckless Kelly. Now, Reckless Kelly is one of my favorite Texas and Red Dirt music artists, and they put out really cool albums. So it comes with this. This is the Motel key, right? And it's kind of got that translucent red thing, and when you hold it over the album, it reveals different scenes. It's kind of got the double, art behind another piece of art here, and that's just really, really cool. And it also has, the liner notes are basically like, stylized like a road map. And it's just, they put way more work into it than, than it needs. But it makes it so cool, and they're smart about it because it makes you want, and it gives you a good reason to buy their physical releases. And I think they've actually won Grammys in the past, not for their music, even though they, in my opinion, they should have gotten Grammys for their music, but they've gotten Grammys for designing the packaging for these CDs. And I got this at a Reckless Kelly show, which makes it even cooler. I got it at this place called Liberty Hall. It's a transitioned old movie theater to do events and special shows. And the concert there was awesome. I'm going to show a little bit of it here. And those are my updates from January and February of 2020, the first of this year. Here's hoping to an awesome year. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.